most of you. But I just want to, I'm going to say a few things about the theme and what we're going to be doing today, but before I start doing that, I'd like to introduce David Boonin, who's Associate Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences for the Arts and Humanities Division, and David's also Professor of Philosophy here at CU. So I'd like to welcome David to help us get this event started off, and then I'll join you in a minute.
Thanks,
David.
Thanks, yeah. And don't worry, I'm not here in my capacity as a philosopher, so. No, first of all, just on behalf of the college, I'm really happy to welcome all of you here. As Tim said, he'll fill you in more on the details of the event in a minute. I just wanted to have a chance to say a few brief things about the center itself, and I'm going to start by saying something that might not sound immediately relevant, but I'll explain in just a moment. So, as some of you may know, there's been a somewhat intense and somewhat acrimonious discussion going on this campus over roughly the last year or so about a proposal to create a new college that would take journalism and communications and perhaps a new Department of Information Studies, environmental design, and put it together with the arts units in our college, so theater and dance, art and art history, and film. Sorry, don't tell Ernesto that I know. Anyhow, bring them together into a new college. And the main idea is supposed to be to sort of increase collaboration and, as they like to say, create new synergies among people who have overlapping interests. Two sorts of fairly significant concerns have been raised about this kind of administrative proposal. One is it's not really the case that every faculty member in one department has strongly overlapping interests with every faculty member in another department, even if the two departments are pretty closely related. And the other is if you try to increase collaboration by putting one group of groups together, you run the risk of decreasing other forms of collaboration. So in the case of our college, for example, the collaboration between our arts units and our humanities units. So about a week or so ago, an external review team came to campus to review this proposal, meet with interested faculty and administrators and so on. And at one of the meetings, one of the reviewers asked a question that I thought was really just a great question. So she said, is there any precedent already existent on this campus for a structure or entity or something that's able to do two things that might seem to be incompatible? And one is bringing people together from a lot of different disciplines who have a common interest and doing that collaboration and synergy creation and so forth. But the second is leaving them as sort of fully autonomous citizens of their home disciplines, and so getting all the benefits that comes with that. So almost without thinking, I just sort of found myself raising my hand, and I said, you should look at the website for our Center for Asian Studies if you want an answer to that question. And the reason for that is if you look at the website, probably most of you have, but if you haven't, you should take a look at it. It's really clear that the center does all the things for sort of Asia-related research, teaching, public outreach, and so forth that a lot of people are interested in seeing be done for media or media design and so forth. So the center runs a very complex, highly interdisciplinary undergraduate major, supports undergraduate and graduate teaching in other ways, obviously supports faculty research across a broad range of disciplines related to Asia in one way or another, sponsors various forms of outreach, and has been, not incidentally, highly successful, I think really since its inception, in generating grants, which administrators like to hear about. And so they've been able to bring in revenue to have more programs, more teaching, visiting lecturers, sometimes instructors who stay on for a couple of years. And they've been able to do that not by taking a bunch of people sort of out of their homes and putting them in a new place, I guess you would say, metaphorically, if not physically, but really just by providing, I shouldn't say just, but by providing a community, an informed, supportive community that lets people, again, remain fully autonomous, fully engaged citizens of their various disciplines. And there are 20 different departments, 4 colleges on the campus represented right now among the 100 faculty that are active in the center. So it lets them all do that while still engaging in all of this creativity and collaboration. So two things about this struck me as I was leaving that meeting. The first was just sort of how immediately the center came to my mind when this question was asked. I think it's really just, you know, it's a model, if not the model on this campus for how to pull off this potentially kind of tricky balancing act. But the other is how many people in that room sort of nodded in recognition as soon as I mentioned the center. And this was a room mostly full of people like me, frankly, none of our teaching or research is related to Asia, so we weren't sort of nodding in the sense of, this is our thing. But that's a really successful example of an organization that does, for that area of study, what the people in the room that I was in really want to see happen for the areas of study. So I'm the Associate Dean for Arts and Humanities here, and I get to brag about a lot of departments and entities. But this is really one that's always like kind of the easiest to brag about, so I'm particularly happy to be asked to introduce the event. So hope you have a good day.
Thanks.
And I'll start.